Appreciate you making time for us. So if you could basically like tell us what happens here for our viewers, just a breakdown about, you know, being the hazardous with batteries are hazardous, you know, and how you sort them and why exactly you sort those kind of, you know, why sort hazardous waste.
Okay, so batteries are extracted from the other workshop, which is called the pre-processing workshop. Then we bring them here. Batteries basically are made from two broad categories, are classified in two broad categories. The first one is the primary cells. The primary cells or batteries are the ones that are not rechargeable. Then the ones that are rechargeable are called secondary cells.
Yeah.
But also the batteries are made from different chemical families. So after extracting batteries from that side, we bring them here and we place them in these pallets and barrels, which are UN certified for handling, storage, and transportation. And they are basically sorted based on those different chemical families.
Yeah.
The lead acid is kept separately, lithium ion is kept separately, lithium iron phosphate is kept separately. Why do we separate them? It's because when we come to the final disposition, all these different chemical family of batteries are handled separately. Yes.
Okay.
So like here we have all these barrels full of lithium iron phosphate. This lithium iron phosphate come from home solar systems. Then we have lead acid. The lead acid are, these are, for example,
Oh yeah.
this is a battery pack. It has 2 cells in it. This is a battery pack. It has 8 cells in it. So a battery pack is basically several cells in one.
Yeah.
Yes, then making one battery, like a laptop battery. We call it a laptop battery, but it is actually several cells in the battery pack. So those lithium iron phosphate. Then we have lead acid. Lead acid look like these ones. This lead acid. It has lead inside. It's a maintenance-free battery. Lead acid. So then we have others like the alkaline and zinc. Alkaline and zinc, these are primary cells, not rechargeable. The Everready, I know everybody in Kenya recognize that name.
One, yeah.
Yes. Then we have Barton cells. The Barton cells are lithium ion, and this lithium ion have capability to ignite. They store a lot of power, so this is a 3.2 battery, and it can ignite. So we have to protect by insulating this lithium ion. Mostly these lithium ion Barton cells are from computers. Then we have nickel metal hydrate. This is 3 cells. We have lithium ion. It has several cells inside. This is a laptop battery. We have nickel metal hydrate also. This one is from the walkie-talkies. We have another category here, and these are lithium ion. This is for phones, like the phone you have.
Yeah.
This is a tablet
Battery.
Yes.
Okay.
So we keep them separately because they are handled separately. However, not every battery cell, the battery cell is dead. So we've partnered with another organization in UK. It's called Acceleron, and we do testing and making sure the cells that are dead are safely disposed. We don't dispose them anywhere in the country. We have partners in Belgium. Belgium has the biggest or largest facility in the world for disposal of most of the electronics. We work with a facility called Umico. So we ship to them the dead cells, the dead batteries, and they dispose on behalf of the country.
So So first of all, Bonnie, we want a small introduction of who you are and what you do.
So my name is Bonnie Mbithi. I'm the General Manager at the WEEE Centre. WEEE Centre is an e-waste management facility. So we make sure that all the e-waste we collect from companies, the government, schools, individuals, it's properly recycled.
All right. Yeah. And how do you ensure that?
So there are processes that we undertake. So like from when we collect, first is to feed whatever we collect into a database, because we're also doing research. So that data is also important. After we have the data of all the equipment that we receive, now we move to the next stage, which is processing. Okay. And before the first stage of processing is actually dismantling what you saw at the back there. You have to separate all those equipment. So they come as electronic waste equipment, but now when they're being processed, they become fractions. So you have to get different fractions from the equipment. Then now you handle them as fractions. So you find if it's metal, it's handled separately, plastic, cables. So now, and then they go through the entire processing chain. And then after processing, normally issue certificates for disposal to the disposer. So if it's a company, we give them the certificate to show they're compliant with WEEE standards. And then we also give them a report of the process that the equipment underwent.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, everything that comes to the WEEE Centre does not again end up in the environment. So we have a zero dumping policy.
All right. And how important is it to manage hazardous waste? Is it a big deal?
It's a big deal to manage e-waste. As you know, e-waste is one of the leading waste streams in the world, globally. The world is doing 50 million tons of e-waste annually. And this is a big number. Yeah? So as a country where we are, Kenya, a few years back, in 2011, we were doing 11,000 tons annually. Meaning this is what people are generating to the environment. Now we are doing, in 2019, we are at 44,000, meaning there's been a lot of growth. And you find most of this e-waste ends up in the dump sites, ends up in rivers, the soil, and in the environment. The e-waste contains very heavy metals, and these heavy metals, when they come into contact with our environment and also human beings or any animals, they are harmful. So some of the illnesses that you find we're suffering from, they are actually contributed by improper disposal of e-waste. So as a company, our responsibility is to make sure that whatever e-waste is there in Kenya is properly handled, so that it does not again cause harm to the environment and also to human health.
Okay. And I've seen some of the measures, people handling this waste, they have PPE, which
yes.
is a good thing. What made you guys decide to give them PPE?
PPE is important. For us, safety is key. And safety for us begins even at the gate. That's why we have to ensure that we're taking accountability for everyone who comes to our facility. And then on the issue of, again, our workers, we have to ensure that safety, in as much as our processes, if you look at them, there's nothing hazardous that we treat. So there's no hazardous treatment. So you find this is not a treatment facility. But on top of that, we have to make sure that as they handle whatever equipment they're handling, they have to be cautious. So that maybe, like the helmets, you find that when they're dismantling those things, some things might hit them. The goggles that you've seen to protect the eyes, the gloves. So it's safety when you're doing any waste management, like especially e-waste, safety has to be key. And even apart from the PPEs that you've seen, we normally carry out safety trainings. So you find we have a calendar of trainings that we offer to our staff, from fire to we're even doing anti-terrorism trainings, first aid, so that you have a workforce that is equipped in terms of safety, because you never know in a workplace anything can happen.
Yeah. Absolutely. And just the final question, is the future bright for Kenya when it comes to e-waste?
I can say the future is bright if awareness is created, and as a company we are constantly creating awareness to let people know why it is important to manage e-waste properly, to let people know why they need to dispose their e-waste with a licensed NEMA facility. And this WEEE Centre being like the biggest, we are currently the biggest e-waste facility in sub-Saharan Africa. So you find, but there's that lack of awareness. So there are people who have electronic devices, but they do not know where to take them. So once we create awareness, and once we have a proper law on e-waste, which we've been really pushing for, the government has promised that by the end of the year, or within the year, we should be having a proper e-waste law. So once you have the law, you have awareness created, there's a bright future for Kenya. Yeah.
So many thanks, Boni, for
Thank you very
making
much.
time for us.
Thank you for coming.
Anytime.
All right, thank you.
Electronic waste is one of the major threats onto the environment, but we can always make a difference. And that's why, as I've always told you, if you really want to make an impact, find your broom. My name is Anne Masharia. Stay tuned next week for another exciting